Dallas. He struck out 4 in a row. 6 for the game. We're heading to the 7th inning. No score.
Is there a best time to buy a new Olds?
Sure. It's like buying clothes at the end of the season. That's why I'm shopping for my 88 Royale now.
They got to make room for the 93s. The deal I got, I almost feel guilty. Almost.
We priced it in March, priced it now.
Yeah, and we're going to Florida with the savings.
I got 3.9% financing for 48 months. That's around $2,000 more I'm saving.
I even got a great deal on the new Achieva. And I learned all about it from the free videotape I got by calling 1-800-234-OLDS.
Rich TA Tires from RW Tire and Service Center. Suddenly, awesome has a whole new meaning. For an awesome experience, get BF Goodrich TA Tires from RW Tire and Service Center at these locations.
Yo, Tyler here from Aerosmith.
Hi, this is Michael Bolton.
Hi, I'm Paula Abdul.
Hi, this is Adamant.
Hey, rock fans, you got Peter Lorre and Mark Scott.
PJ Farley.
And Steve Brown from Trickster.
Hi, I'm Gloria Estefan from Miami Sound Machine.
Hi, this is John Bon Jovi.
Hey, you rock and rollers, this is Tommy Conwell on WPST.
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 97.5 WPST, Trenton and Philadelphia.
ESPN Major League Baseball is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light. And by Ramada. Stay with us on your next holiday and discover why Ramada's in.
There's downtown Dallas. And here is Arlington Stadium right alongside the Turnpike. Highway 30. Which connects Dallas and Fort Worth. And we're in the mid-cities. We're in Arlington, Texas. A little closer to Fort Worth than it is to Dallas. No score. Now into the late innings we go. Ryan to face cleanup hitter Mo Vaughn. It was 0 for 2. The curveball. Ball 1. That was the 77th pitch thrown by Ryan. So, Joe, on this hot night in Texas, in terms of Ryan continuing to go in this ball game, shouldn't be much of a problem. That's not a bad pitch total.
No, it is not.
Oftentimes he'd have over 100 already after 6. That is a ball outside. 2-0 the count. Ryan with 4 strikeouts, 1 walk.
He gave Tim McClellan a long look in on that first pitch, which was a curveball. And McClellan called it inside for a ball. Now he's behind Mo Vaughn 2-0, and he has to give him a fastball.
Vaughn hits it high in the air to right center. Back goes Canseco. He's there. Out, number 1. Long ride for Vaughn, but not long enough. One away in the 7th. Let's go to John Saunders.
John and Joe, you make the call. Alan Mills facing Andy Stankiewicz. The pitch is that a strike, guys? Looks like it is, but it's called ball 4. As a result, Danny Tartabull comes in to score. 3-2 Yankees with the lead. John and Joe.
All right. So, I don't know if we can get into second-guessing umpires calls all the way from Texas.
Well, you know what? The hitter didn't move.
No, he didn't. He wasn't running toward first. Yeah. So better left for Stankiewicz to make the call.
Yeah,
on
let
that one.
them make the call.
What do you think, Andy? Well, I'm not going anywhere unless they order me here. Here is Bob Zupsik. He is singled and he is popped to short. 1 for 2. Ryan and Clemens in a 0-0 draw. That one is driven deep into left center, but playable for Farris. And that's the second out. That one not nearly as threatening as the one hit by Vaughn. 2 down in the Boston 7th.
It's kind of interesting, John. Nolan Ryan's getting the job done. He's just not striking them out as he usually does. He has 4 strikeouts, but basically he is using his pitches, moving the pitches around, and keeping the hitters off balance.
Well, that's always the rap on Ryan anyway. Hey, why go for all those strikeouts? Throw fewer pitches.
As he's done tonight.
Yeah, fewer strikeouts and more wins. Ryan has gone to 3 balls only twice. Both times to Wade Boggs. And Boggs is the only man that Ryan has walked. He walked him back in the 4th inning. Jody Reed has flied to left. walked and struck out looking. 0-1 the count. The breaking ball is low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
If he can throw a couple of curveballs for strikes to Jody Reed, that means he has excellent control, because Reed, being a small, short person, Ryan has to start the curveball at a perfect height just to get it to drop into the strike zone.
Foul ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Jody Reed, top of the 7th. Boston and Roger Clemens, nothing. The Rangers and Nolan Ryan, nothing. Not even a home run from Ken Seko. Clemens has struck out 4 in a row. Ryan with 4 strikeouts for the game. Make it 5. Curveball, got him looking. Second straight time that Reed has been called out on strikes. Ryan has 7 shutout innings. Now Reimer, Palmer, Petrale coming up against Clemens.
Bud Dry is one beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste. So why not come around to something refreshingly different? Try Bud Dry.
Welcome to Hotel Views, Business Club, Holiday Inn, or Ramada. Bob?
Susan, you boardroom bow wow. Holiday Inn has a business club. It's got bonus points, your gifts, everything. Wake up, Susan. Smell a coffee.
I smell something, Bob, and it's not French roast. Look, Ramada's business card program has all that and more. At Ramada, you can earn bonus points faster toward over 10,000 gifts. Plus, your spouse stays free. Tell us, Bob, when did your brain check out? Face it, Ramada's in, holidays out.
At the first tickly itch of athlete's foot, Gazanex. Killing those grungy fungi before they get cracking and burning. Go get that can now, or else don't blame Gazanex.
And now the noise here is unbelievable. It's a wall of sound. Okay, now 2 out, bottom of the 9th. Count 2-2 on Burnett. Runner on first, tie ball game. Infield playing deep. Williams pitching from the stretch. Looks Stevens back to first. Here's the pitch. Long fly ball to deep left. It could be. It is gone for a home run. Oh, what a shot.
No matter where you are, with official Major League Baseball products, you're always a little closer to the game.
A message from Major League Baseball.
If you want a beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste, why not make a change for the better? Refreshingly different, Bud Dry.
No score. Clemens and Ryan locked up in a great pitchers battle, last of the 7th. Now, Bobby Valentine was fired earlier this year as manager, and there was talk that maybe Tom Grieve, the general manager, would be next to go. We asked George W. Bush about that.
The stock's pretty high, John. Anytime you have a season where expectations fall below, the results fall below expectations, people are going to be talking a lot about different changes in the organization. But we've got a lot of respect for Tom Grieve. He's a good, decent, honest man. And this trade, you don't base a person's career on one trade. But if you had to rate him right now, he's doing very well in the organization.
All right. George W. Bush talking about Tom Grieve. So he didn't say that he's definitely going to be re-signed, but his stock is pretty high right now, he said with a wry smile. And right now, Roger Clemens' stock is going up. All of a sudden, Clemens has become the Rocket once again. He's almost untouchable. He has struck out 4 straight hitters, and he blows that high fastball past Kevin Reimer. Left-handed hitters fly out and single.
And
1 ball, 1 strike.
John, you can see the difference in Roger Clemens. He is no longer turning the fastball over. He's reaching back, throwing the riding fastball, the high fastball, which is his trademark when he strikes out a lot of hitters. See, that's no sinking fastball there.
More power from Clemens. 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. You saw his totals. Only 3 hits allowed. He's had 1 real big trouble spot. That was in the 4th when he had 2 men on and nobody out, but he got through it very nicely.
Fastball in.
And it missed. Close one.
Yeah, Clemens wanted it. Probably a little high.
Clemens, he conserved his strength with all the sinkers and breaking balls. There's a breaking ball, and it's rolled foul. late innings, and all of a sudden the power comes out here. 2-2.
A lot of things can happen when you're a power pitcher like Roger Clemens that gets you going. You know, all of a sudden you can throw a fastball and you say, hey, that felt pretty good. I've got a little more than that. And then that gives you a little more confidence in your fastball, and you really can turn it loose and go after the hitter. I think earlier in the ball game he wasn't sure of his fastball.
And the breaking ball, strike 3. That is 5 in a row.
Well, he throws a curveball away.
Third baseman Dean Palmer.
And it hangs outside, and Palmer chases it. Good break on it. But it was going to be a ball, but that's what a good curveball does. It starts in the strike zone and breaks out, and the hitter usually chases.
Dean Palmer, the hitter, he's grounded to short and fouled out to third. Slider that misses. Ball 1 to Palmer. Is a guy you associate with strikeouts, tied for the league lead with 130, but not tonight, not so far. Off the hands, and it is 1-1 to Palmer. No score. Last of the 7th. How often do you get, Joe, some highly touted pitching matchup and it ends up 9-8?
Yes.
But not tonight. We've got the pitchers, and they are living up to billing here. That curve is fouled off, and it is 1-2 to Palmer.
When you're facing a guy like Roger Clemens and he hangs a curveball in the middle of the plate, you better hit it. And Palmer fouled it back. You don't expect to get another pitch that good to hit with 2 strikes.
1 out and nobody out. And that breaking ball is low and outside. 2-2 now. Roger Clemens going for number 152 lifetime in the victory column.
Well, it's weird. As good as he's been, that's still a long way from 300.
Just a little over halfway there. Strike 3. 6 consecutive strikeouts for Clemens. 8 total. Let's go to John Saunders.
Budweiser taking us to Baltimore. You didn't want to make the call on the one down the middle. Well, this one makes it a little easier on you guys. Bernie Williams with a triple. The bases were still loaded, but not for long, as Hall, Noakes, and Stankiewicz come in. New York takes the lead over the Orioles 6-2. Back to John and Joe.
All right, thank you, John. Meanwhile, Kansas City still ahead of Toronto 4-1 in the top of the 8th at Royal Stadium. And it looks like the Yanks may be taking the measure of the Orioles tonight. Here is Petralli, and he fouls one away. Roger Clemens, all of a sudden, putting on a show here at Arlington Stadium. Nolan Ryan's home ballpark. And where the aficionados of Ryan come to pay homage every 5th day. And Roger Clemens, the heir apparent to the Ryan legacy, and he is putting on quite a show. 6 consecutive hitters struck out. Petralli has lifetime success against Clemens, but now he's in a hole. It is 0-2. Petralli has flied out and hit into an inning-ending double play.
You can see the sign from Tony Pena. Gave him a straight fastball. He didn't want it to be turned over. He wanted to throw the fastball away.
Now it is 1 ball and 2 strikes to Petralli. 2 down and nobody out.
Fastball in now.
And it is 2-2. No score, last of the 7th. Boston, no runs, 3 hits against Ryan. Texas, no runs, 3 hits against Clemens. All of a sudden, it's nothing at all for the Rangers. They have not even hit a fair ball against him since the 5th inning. That is foul off to the left, out of play. Nearly 30,000 is the official paid attendance here tonight. 29,699 at Arlington Stadium. The home of the Rangers as they moved here in 1972 from Washington. Former Washington Senators. 2-2 pitch. And there is number 7 in a row for Roger Clemens. 7 consecutive Rangers have been struck out by Roger Clemens. We're going to the record books here. We head to the 8th inning. No score.
Our track record will show that even while moving through the fast lane, this candidate has always put family first.
If you want a beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste, why not make a change for the better? Refreshingly different, but dry. Bud Dry is one beer that drinks easy like a light and has real draft taste. So why not come around to something refreshingly different? Try Bud Dry.
Open your coat, please. Take that thing out slowly and open it.
Some kind of device. We have a possible situation.
No,
We have a situation here.
Not a situation. Don't touch the button, sir. Quiet, please. It's just a car stereo.
Pioneer car stereos offer you a detachable face for the ultimate in security.
You see, it's a detachable face for the car stereo. What's the matter with these people?
Furthermore, our candidate embraces the purest traditional values. Wealth is simply not important.
The Padres and the Giants in San Diego going on the home run hitting brigade here. Darren Jackson with Benito Santiago aboard. This is a 2-run home run, his 17th of the year. 3-0 there. Meanwhile, the Jays and the Royals, Toronto trying to mount the comeback. Roberto Alomar with a single. As the Jays get 3 in a row, Alfredo Griffin comes in. It's now a 4-2 game in the 8th. Back to John and Joe.
It is Ryan versus Clemens tonight, and we got no score in this ball game. And Roger Clemens is putting on a show. 7 straight strikeouts, Joe. And I was going to the record book there, but you already knew the Major League record of consecutive strikeouts.
Struck out 10 in a row. I remember that. I wasn't part of it, but I remember reading about it.
All right. So Ryan not giving any ground, though, as Clemens continues to put on his show. Ryan and Clemens locked in a 0-0 tie as we go to the 8th inning now.
And Jim Fry. Hiram Winningham is the hitter.
Winningham is flied out to right center and flied out to left. Now, Ryan with 5 strikeouts in the game. 1 walk, only 3 hits allowed, and 2 of those were scratch hits that probably shouldn't have happened. Base hit number 4 for the Boston Red Sox. Winningham is 1 for 3. Now the Rangers are going to get the bullpen busy as we head into the late innings. Ryan pitched 6 shutout innings in his previous start. There is Kenny Rogers, the left-hander, up in the Rangers bullpen. Number 50 there, Ray Burris, former Major League pitcher and a good one. Now the bullpen coach here in Texas. There's Ray, great baseball man, great guy.
Yeah, very classy individual. One of my favorite people. He was a teammate of mine in Oakland in 1984, my last year, and one of the best pitchers in the league at that time.
Yeah, one of his best years ever. All right, let's see what the Red Sox have in mind here. Rick Burleson is the acting manager tonight. That is called a strike, a fastball. Pena jumped out of the way, but Ryan got it in there. The Rangers charging from both third base and first base. All 4 of the infielders moving as Pena was showing bunt. This is the 8th inning.
Not only is he not easy to hit, he's not easy to bunt, Nolan Ryan, either. When a pitcher throws as hard as he does, it's very difficult to deaden the ball down the first baseline.
And Winningham is back. Now Herm Winningham runs. I mean, he runs pretty well. He could also steal a base if they don't take care.
And again, it's very easy to get a good jump off of Nolan because he has such a high leg kick.
Get the runner over. Palmeiro to Fry at first, and Winningham has been moved along. by Tony Pena, 3-4 for the put out on the sacrifice. Now Valentin and Hatcher are the next two hitters to try and bring him home.
That was a very good bunt by Tony Pena.
Pena, congratulated by his teammates for getting the fundamental job done here as the Red Sox try and manufacture a run against Nolan Ryan. Well, now it's a spot where he could use a couple of strikeouts. And it's scoring position here. That will get him over to third base. On the wild pitch, the second wild pitch of the game by Nolan Ryan.
Well, Nolan was going to break this curveball off a little sharper, and that's what you do when you get runners in score position. You try to get a little more on your fastball and a little sharper break on your curveball, and this one just really snaps quickly. No chance. Petralli tried to keep it in front of him, but no chance to stop Winningham from going over to third base.
Now the Rangers bring the infield in. This is the first time that Boston has gotten a runner to third base tonight. It is the first time that either team has gotten a runner to third base. That fastball missed on the outside. 2-0 to Valentin. No score, 8th inning. By the way, with the 7 straight strikeouts by Clemens, the American League record is 8 consecutive strikeouts. Clemens has done it, and Nolan Ryan has done it twice, but not since 1973. 2-0 the count. And that'll get the run home. It's deep into left center field. And it's going to be extra bases. Farris plays the carom. Valentin has a double. And the Boston Red Sox have gone ahead 1-0 in the 8th inning. Valentin with his second double of the game.
Well, it's very difficult for Nolan Ryan to be able to throw a fastball by these hitters this late in the ball game. You have to remember Nolan Ryan is 45 years old. That's a fastball that's in the middle of the plate, and he can't get it by Valentin. And it's a double, and the Boston Red Sox lead 1-0.
Ryan had pitched 13 consecutive scoreless innings in his last 2 starts. That is foul. What a sinking action on that pitch. Hatcher, the batter, 0 for 3. Struck out twice and is flying to shallow right once. Final in from Baltimore. The New York Yankees in 13 innings beating the Orioles 6-2. And the Blue Jays playing catch up in Kansas City are now trailing 4-2 there in the 8th. Toronto a game and a half ahead of Baltimore at the start of the day. Now Toronto's got another run. We're told 4-3 Kansas City. So the Blue Jays, back of Jack Morris tonight, they do have a chance to gain ground on second place Baltimore. A ball and a strike to Hatcher. And that curve misses. 2-1. What do you think about Ryan now?
Well, he's laboring a little bit, it seems like, but you have to realize, he's 45 years old and he's pitched into the 8th inning, and he's been under pressure all the time because they don't have any runs. It's a little tougher pitching, say, if he had a 3 or 4 run lead, than it is if you're, in a tie ball game and it's 89 degrees here.
Ball 3. That was the 97th pitch thrown by Ryan tonight. Pitch to beauty, given up only 5 hits, only 1 walk. I've got him with 5 strikeouts.
I have 5 also.
So 4 must be correct. 3-1 the count to Billy Hatcher. Got the pop up on the fastball right in the hands. And Palmeiro takes it. Hatcher retired. 0 for 4 for him. 2 down. It's Scott Cooper to try and bring in this extra run. Already with 1 run, the way Clemens is going, it looks bad for the Rangers.
First baseman Scott Cooper.
The Rangers in their half of the 8th are due to have Fry, Newman, and Downing up. Palmeiro 4th, Canseco 5th, and of course Gonzalez, the young slugger, the leading home run hitter in the majors, is out of the game. Hit by a pitch by Clemens on the forearm in the 4th inning. Nolan Ryan down 1-0 here in the 8th. Ryan in 1972 struck out 8 straight hitters while with California and did it again in '73. Clemens did it in 1986. The night that he had 20 strikeouts, which is the all-time record for a 9-inning game. Cooper, ball 1. Cooper hit a double back in the 6th inning down into the right field corner. Base hit here. Could make it 2-0 Boston. Red Sox lead 1-0 right now. There is Valentin, the runner at second base. His double drove in the first run of this game. Tom Seaver struck out the last 10 batters he faced in 1970 in a ball game. That one sinking low. 2-0 now to Cooper. The left-handed batting. Wade Boggs on deck.
Well, he's being very careful to Cooper because he figures Cooper can handle his fastball. So he's turning it over and throwing a couple of breaking balls. He's thrown a breaking ball and a sinking fastball. So what you're telling me is when Tom struck out the last 10, if there had been 12, he may have struck out 12.
It hit the bag. Rounding third is Valentin. Heading home. Here comes the throw. It's offline and too late anyway. And so the Red Sox get a big break there. The bag got in the way. Now, even if that had been a hit, I think Palmeiro's going to keep that in the infield.
Yes.
But it hit the bag. 2-0 Boston.
Sometimes you'd rather be lucky. Rather be lucky than be good.
Third baseman Wade Boggs.
But it helps if you're both. He hits this ball very sharply. Like I say, Palmeiro was going to get to it. He would have been able to knock it down at least. But it hits the bag and rolls into fair territory, and no chance for them to keep Valentin from scoring.
Well, they've got Kenny Rogers ready in the bullpen, a left-hander. The left-handed hitting Boggs coming up, but Toby Harrah visiting Ryan. He's going to stay with him, which is a popular move here in Texas.
Well, if there was a runner at second, I believe he would make a pitching change now. But since there is a runner at first and not in scoring position, and Boggs is not really a home run threat, he's going to try to let him pitch out of this jam.
You see the update from Kansas City. The Royals, who had led 4-0, are now tied with Toronto. Toronto's still batting in the 8th. The Blue Jays with a chance now to gain ground on Baltimore for the second day in a row. So here's Boggs, 0 for 2 with a walk against Ryan. Strike on the outside. Oh, and 1 the count to Boggs. That's foul, out of play off the left field line. 0-2.
When I watch Boggs, and obviously I don't see him nearly as much as we would like, but he just doesn't seem to be quite as aggressive as I've seen him in the past. A lot of people say, well, how can he be aggressive? He walks a lot, he takes a lot of pitches. You take pitches, but when you get the pitch that you want to handle, you really attack it. And I don't see him attacking the ball when he gets the pitch that I think he should hit or he thinks he should hit as he did in the past. And I don't know what the reason is. I can't go any further than that. But he doesn't attack the ball the same way. Right there. See, that's just a slap at the pitch. All he was trying to do was just slap it away.
6 strikeout for Nolan Ryan, but he gives up 2. 2-0 Texas. We go to the last of the 8th.
You've seen it before. The ones who run with the herd, and the one who always seems to run alone. You don't see him often enough, though.
Is this seat taken?
No, please.
So that's what you're eating? Too bad.
This is a whole grain cereal.
Yes, with sugar and preservatives.
Oh, and I suppose that you're a Kellogg.
Kellogg's Nutri-Grain. It's made with pure whole grain.
Oh, really?
It's the only whole grain cereal without sugar or preservatives added.
The only one? I didn't know.
I know.
So what else should I know?
You have milk on your chin.
Kellogg's Nutri-Grain, as good as whole grain gets.
On weekends, Johnny benches at the tennis court. While my buddy's getting a lesson, I'll show you how to get a professional finish with Krylon spray paint. I'll spray this bench with Krylon, this with the other leading brand. Krylon goes on smooth, no runs, no drips, no errors. And dries to the touch in 12 minutes. An hour later, the other brand's still tacky. Wow, what a game. I went easy on him.
See you next week, Mr. Euchre.
Did you win a game? He's a lot tougher than he looks.
Now available at most Sears stores.
Taken at face value, your diet routine seems to have gotten brown. Why not come out of the shadow and into the light of Diet 7-Up, the Un-Cola, the Un that's always smooth, never harsh or irritating, without a hint of aftertaste. New Diet 7-Up with NutraSweet, the 1-calorie Un-Cola. Put some Un in your diet.
Now back at Arlington Stadium, the Boston Red Sox have finally broken through against Nolan Ryan to lead 2-0. Meanwhile, the Texas Rangers have not put a ball in play against this man, Roger Clemens, since the 5th inning. He has struck out the first 7 hitters in this Rangers batting order now consecutively. And here's a pinch hitter, Jack Doherty, batting for Jeff Fry, and it is a strike. Doherty, a switch hitter, batting left-handed, hitting only .202, but he is hitting .234 as a left-handed batter, and is 3 for 11 as a pinch hitter. And it is high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Clemens with 7 consecutive strikeouts, 1 more, and he will equal the all-time American League record for consecutive strikeouts, which he already shares. 2-1. Clemens with 9 strikeouts total in the ball game. Ryan on the other side was 6 strikeouts, but he gave up a couple of runs there in the 8th inning. And now he trails and needs some help from his teammates. 3-1 the count.
You know, you want to give Tim McClellan, the home plate umpire, a pat on the back for tonight's ball game. I think he's done a great job in handling, you know, his chores behind the plate with Nolan Ryan on the mound and Roger Clemens. You have not seen very many arguments or very many discussions about pitches, which means that he is doing a very good job.
There is Palmeiro. He would be due up 4th in this inning. 3-1. And that is the 3rd walk of the game allowed by Roger Clemens. 7 consecutive strikeouts from Clemens, and let's take a look at strike 3 7 times to Downing, Palmeiro, Canseco, Ferris, Kevin Reimer, Dean Palmer, number 6, and then Gino Petralli was number 7. Now Rich Gale, the pitching coach, out to speak to Roger Clemens as Al Newman comes up to bat here. Let's go to John Saunders.
Budweiser takes us to Kansas City, where the Jays have come back from 4-0. Dave Winfield delivers Roberto Alomar here, and this is the tying run. 4-4. They're now out of the inning, but 4-4. The Jays all the way back to tie. Back to John and Joe.
All right, here 2-0 Boston. Back of Roger Clemens leading Ryan and the Rangers as Rich Gale chats with Roger out there. I'll remind you about the Tuesday night doubleheader coming up on ESPN at 7:30 from Three Rivers Stadium. Ryan Sandberg and the Chicago Cubs trying to play the role of spoilers against the Pirates. They beat them today. Barry Bonds has been on a tear of late. He tries for another MVP. Then at 10:30, Gary Sheffield. He's hit one tonight. Sheffield and McGriff and the Padres take on Will Clark and the Giants from Candlestick. That's all tomorrow night. ESPN Tuesday night doubleheader. We're going to get a pinch hitter now for Al Newman, and it's going to be Ivan Rodriguez, the young Texas catcher. He has the great arm. Pudge, they call him here, just like Carlton Fisk. Yeah, Ricky Henderson's nightmare.
Had a game here where Ricky Henderson was on first, and they were yelling for him to chanting, go, go, go. They wanted Rodriguez to be able to throw him out.
Rodriguez hitting .259. He's got 8 home runs. 35 batted in. Rodriguez 1 for 7 as a pinch hitter. Doesn't often homer, but he did hit a big one earlier this year against Rick Aguilera, the closer of the Twins, in the 9th inning of a ball game at the Metrodome to tie it up. He's got a little pop. Foul off to the right. He's very aggressive up there. Rodriguez has walked only 21 times this year in 106 games. 2-0 Boston, last of the 8th. The Boston bullpen is getting busy now. Just in case Clemens should begin to fade here in the heat. Tony Fawcett, the left-hander. Paul Quantrill, the right-hander. 0-2 to Rodriguez. Brian Downing is on deck.
Rogers still has some pop on his fastball. I mean, it struck out, as you mentioned, 8 straight hitters, 7 straight hitters.
That's a foul. 0-2. That is 115 pitches now for Roger Clemens.
And it was 93 miles an hour, so he's maybe lost 3 miles an hour on his fastball, but at that speed, it'll still kill you.
And the curve taken. Clemens wants an appeal to the first base umpire, Coble, but Coble denies the Boston appeal there.
Rodriguez starts after it, but he gets the bat under control, and the barrel of the bat never went toward the ball.
Clemens has passed a couple of pitchers in the all-time strikeout list tonight with his 9 total. And he'll be passing them still further as he goes along. Curveball. The third, Boggs has it. The second for 1. Reed to first. 2. That was play.
That was a nice pickup by Boggs. That ball took an erratic hop. It jumped up, and it was also hit very hard. And Boggs stayed with it, came up with it. Good throw to Reed at second, and he turned it over. So good defense by Boston. It's a curveball from Roger Clemens. Hangs in the middle of the plate, and Rodriguez hits it hard. See, now Boggs comes up with it. Good throw to second. Over to first, and that's a big league double play right there.
Well, Pudge Rodriguez, the first Ranger batter to put the ball in play since the 5th inning when Al Newman did it. And even then, you have to put an asterisk behind that, because Newman hit a foul out to the catcher back in the 5th inning. In fact, Rodriguez is the first man to hit a fair ball against Clemens since the 4th inning, when Petrale hit a double play. That's driven deep into left center field. Hatcher has it. And down go the Rangers. They'll have one more shot in the 9th inning against Clemens. We go to the 9th inning. 2-0 Boston. Vaughn will be leading it off when we get back.
For expert service on your Chevy car or truck, just bring it to us. We're Patterson Chevrolet, and we've been your neighbors over 60 years. Patterson Service Department uses the latest diagnostic equipment and genuine GM parts, all backed up by Mr. Goodrich. Collision repairs are no problem at Patterson's Insurance Company approved body shop. At Patterson Chevrolet, we're serious about putting service back into the service department. Route 33, Hamilton Square.
A word about pasta for fitness from the National Pasta Association and Landolfi. Pasta supplies the nutrients many athletes overlook in their diets. An excellent source of protein, fiber, B vitamins, and iron. It's also low in fat and sodium. Yet pasta's high complex carbohydrate content makes it the perfect fitness food, giving athletes more stamina since it takes longer for the muscles to use the energy. Boost your nutrient intake, health, performance, and eating enjoyment with a variety of tasty pasta dishes from Landolfi, the pasta people.
The retirement scares me. What if I run out of money before I die?
Talk to a financial planner. Call IDS for a free consultation.
My name is Victor Mallett.
And I'm Phil Subhand. If you're concerned about retirement, call us for a free financial planning consultation.
Our number is 1-800-355-1216.
Here we go to the ninth inning. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan. Glad to have you with us on Labor Day 92. Nolan Ryan trailing 2-0 to Clemens as we go to the ninth inning. New center fielder for the Rangers. Donald Harris is now out there. And moving from center field to second base is Monty Farris. And the Rangers also have a new shortstop, Mario Diaz, now at short. After they used a couple of pinch hitters there in the eighth inning. 2-0, Boston ahead. With Vaughn, Zubcic, and Reed coming up. Diaz, by the way, will hit 8th, and Harris will hit 9th in the Rangers batting order. So Nolan Ryan, he's thrown 103 pitches, but he seemed to wilt a little bit there in the eighth inning as Boston got to him for a couple of runs. The ninth place hitter, John Valentin, who's been a hot hitter, doubled home the first run of the game, and then Cooper singled home the second with a little help from the first base bag. Sharp curveball to Vaughn. Ball one. Vaughn is grounded to second, struck out, and fly to deep right center. Well, Roger Clemens fell one strikeout short of equaling the all-time American League record for consecutive strikeouts in a game. Vaughn with a pop fly, shallow right. There's Canseco. And Vaughn is retired. One away. Let's go to John Saunders.
Budweiser taking us to San Francisco. Sheffield has a homer. Jackson has a homer. And now Gerald Clark has a homer. But this one is with the bases loaded. 7-0 San Diego in the fourth. Back to you.
Well, Gerald Clark's had a very fine second half of the season.
He
had a miserable first half.
Right. He's got a very quick bat, a lot of leverage, tall guy. I've always felt that he was going to be a real star in this league.
Now Tom House, the pitching coach, is going out to see Ryan, and I think Ryan is finished.
Well, he already walked off. I would think so.
He seems to have hurt himself. And he gets an ovation as he heads off the field. He threw a couple of practice pitches while we were away to John Saunders, and then all of a sudden he had to go out. He seems to be, maybe he strained a little muscle there in the backside. We'll find out. He's hurting. He'll be back.
What does it take to be a mountain man? Let's see. A mountain man must be fearless, sure-footed, willing to answer the call of the wild. But most of all, a mountain man should be thirsty for a smooth bush beer or an easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and see if you have what it takes to be a real mountain man.
If you're looking into faucets, Peerless means plenty. America's leading do-it-yourself faucet. In hundreds of styles and finishes. All made with solid brass valve construction. And all warranty for as long as you own your home. The best made, best back, do-it-yourself faucets in America. That's what Peerless means.
Red Devil enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
This royal throne of kings, this happy breed of men, this earth of majesty, this little world.
The airline that's uniting the world. United brings you non-stop service from 6 U.S. cities to London's Heathrow and the land of poets.
This blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England.
Come fly the friendly skies.
Wednesday night, where can you find the first place Braves?
In your face. In your face. Prime time is in your face.
The Braves face the Reds live on ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball.
So I think Boston, and it will be another winless night for Nolan Ryan, the 8th consecutive start for him without a victory. And of course, that has happened to him before this season. Back early in the year, he went a very long time before he got a win. So Ryan is out, and again, we'll be trying to get a report as to what happened. Looked like he might have strained a muscle.
Yeah, well, you know, I question, you know, leaving him in after, you know, he fell behind. I actually think they probably should have run into the left-hander in the 8th inning. You have to remember one thing. Nolan Ryan is 45 years old, John, and you can't just do the things like you did before. And I think what happens is they get caught up in this, confrontation with Roger Clemens, and they left him out there too long, in my opinion. But that's what that's worth.
There's Matt Whiteside, the pitcher. Dean Palmer throws out. Bob's upset. First ball swinging. And there is two down in the 9th inning. We are at Arlington Stadium in Arlington, Texas. The third game of our holiday triple header.
Second baseman Jody
Along with Joe
Reed.
Morgan, this is John Miller. And we've had the Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens matchup tonight. Yes, we're the commentators. John and Joe, the commentators. And Texas broke a 0-0, a 0-0 draw in the 8th inning with 2 runs against Ryan, the only 2 runs of the game. Roger Clemens has had a stretch where he struck out 7 consecutive hitters. And Clemens is working on the shutout, but he will have to face Palmeiro and Canseco to start the last of the 9th. Matt Whiteside throws a strike to Jody Reed. Reed is 0 for 3. Juan Gonzalez would be due up 3rd in the last half of the 9th inning. That's a base hit to center for Jody Reed, but Gonzalez was hit in the left forearm by a pitch from Clemens back in the 4th inning and had to leave the game. And we understand the news is good, Joe.
Good.
That they have determined that he suffered a bruise and nothing more serious than that. So very good news. The great young talent Juan Gonzalez having an amazing season at age 22.
Obviously, a bruise is better than a fracture, but that bruise can last a long time too when you get hit with 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Here's Herm Winningham, 1 for 3. His single in the 8th inning got the Red Sox rally started. He scored the first run of the night. Whiteside throws the fastball past him. Well, Nolan Ryan, remember, started the year. He did not win in his first 11 starts. It was not until his 12th start against Detroit that he won a ball game. And Ryan has had an amazing string of no decisions this year. Ryan, this was his 25th start tonight. He's had 11 games where he got no decision. 6 times he's left with the lead and seen the bullpen blow the lead for him. That will go a long way toward getting you some no decisions.
Yes.
He had a year like that. Remember in Houston one year, he had some problems physically. And once he got up around 100 pitches, they always took him out of the game. And the Astros couldn't hold those leads for him. And he went 8-16 that year and won the earned run average title.
Earned run average. Remember the earned run average title.
So it's, I know Nolan Ryan, if you're going to ask him what he'd like to see the Rangers do for next year, I mean, they'd like to improve their defense, which has not been good. But I'd like to see him improve that bullpen a little bit. Or a lot.
A lot. And in talking to Toby Harrah, they have that in mind as well. But it's easier said than done.
There's Toby. Toby also likes to see him not make a change in the manager.
Yes.
Between now and next year.
He'd like that better than the bullpen help.
First things first. Little bloop on the run is Reimer. I don't think he would have caught that if he kept coming. And now the Red Sox have runners at first and third on the single by Winningham. Crowd thought he would have caught it. Reimer's just unsure of himself out there.
Well, the problem also, John, is with 2 outs, if he tries to dive or something and misses it, then Jody Reed may be able to score. See, he stops. The ball hits quite a bit in front of him. I'm not sure he could have made the play, but it did look like he stopped a little quicker than the fans would have liked.
There's Rick Burleson. He's the acting manager of the Red Sox tonight. Butch Hobson with the stomach flu. The Roosters also manning the coaching lines along third base as he usually does. There's Winningham at first. Reed is at third. And Tony Pena, the hitter. He got the sacrifice bunt down in the 8th inning to help the Red Sox set up the first run of the game. We're looking at a young pitcher by the name of Matt Whiteside in relief of Ryan here. Just back in time, Winningham. Whiteside, 25 years old, from Sikeston, Missouri. Went to Arkansas State. Got his degree in physical education. This is his 3rd year in professional ball. He's been groomed as a relief pitcher in the minor leagues. That usually fools him.
Maybe it did where he played in the minor leagues.
Arkansas State.
Yeah.
Okay, the first guy I ever saw do that was is now a telecaster here in Texas, and a very good one, Steve Busby. He used to pick some guys off with that at first.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you're the first to do it and people are not aware of it, your first movement, your base stealers will take off.
Up the middle and into center field, a base hit. Coming in to score is Reed. Going to the third is Winningham as Harris throws wide. And it is 3-0 for the Boston Red Sox. And counting. RBI for Pena. Now Bumbry alongside.
Shortstop John Valentin.
So 3 straight singles allowed by Matt Whiteside. Don't forget now, the best way to top off your holiday sports day. Sports Center comes up next with Keith Olbermann and Dan Patrick. Fay Vincent, the commissioner of baseball, resigning today. Some speculation coming as to who's the next commissioner. Also highlights from the U.S. Open, McEnroe versus Courier. And all of the day's action in Major League Baseball. There is ball 1 to Valentin. And Joe and I want to remind you to join us next Sunday night from Busch Stadium, St. Louis. Sunday Night Baseball. We'll see the renewal of the ancient rivalry between the Cubs and Cards. But the Cubs today, they had 16 hits through 9 innings, and they had a 3-3 tie.
And they actually had 5 hits and 3 runs. So they went 11. They got 11 more hits after the 3rd inning and didn't score a run.
Well, then they still had 3 runs on 20 hits into the 11th inning. And then all of a sudden, Patterson came in from the bullpen to face Derek May, and May hit a 3-run homer. And they still almost lost it. The Pirates got 2 in the bottom of the 11th. Cubs won it, though, 6-5. Cubs won.
Cubs win.
Cubs won. Cubs won at Pittsburgh. 2-0 the count. Look out. 3-0 now to Valentin. Hatcher on deck. Now we're getting an update here, Joe. Coming up right after the game is Baseball Tonight. I mean, you get the lowdown on Baseball Tonight. Then, after Baseball Tonight, Sports Center, where you get the lowdown on everything. Then,
well, I'll be back in time for Sports Center.
Are you planning a big night out after the game, huh? Night of the town? At least a half hour out after the game, huh?
Actually, I was going to go down and get an autograph or 2.
Let me see. Nolan Ryan?
And the Rocket.
Full count now to Valentin, 3-2. Nolan Ryan, we just were listening to some kind of a report about Ryan. Got a strained muscle in his lower left side.
He may have stopped in time before there was any, serious injury, so he may not even miss a start. He may have just felt a little tightness there.
3-2 the count to Valentin. Runners at first and third, 2 down in the 9th inning. Matt Whiteside having a hard time getting that final out. That is foul. The runner from first, Pena, was going. 3-2 the count remains. We're in the 9th inning. Boston 3, the Rangers nothing. Roger Clemens with his shutout going. Clemens has got to face Palmeiro, Canseco, and Ferris. Oh, I say Ferris. Maybe a pinch hitter. When we get to that spot. And it's a walk. Well, Whiteside has now allowed 4 straight Red Sox to reach base here. Let's go to John Saunders.
Devon White at the plate. There's 1 gone, and Alfredo Griffin is on second. He decides to take off for third and is thrown out. And the Jays had the go-ahead run erased at third. They've gone to the bottom of the 9th now. Back to John and Joe.
All right, John. And of course, the Orioles lost, as you saw, to the Yankees tonight. Billy Hatcher to center field. Donald Harris. And that ends the inning. But Boston adds a run for Roger Clemens. And 3 men are left on base. Palmeiro and Canseco to start it off against Clemens. 3-0 Boston.
Turn to page 69 in your range.
When you've got a serious thirst, there's nothing like new Diet Squirt. Now with even more of the tangy citrus taste of regular Squirt. So come on, give your thirst a new Diet Squirt with NutraSweet.
Pizza Hut announces an amazing new menu policy. Buy one pizza at regular price and get any other of equal or lesser value for half price. It may change the way America buys everything.
Okay, one aircraft carrier regular price, any other aircraft carrier of equal or lesser value, half price.
Any other molar extraction of equal or lesser value, half price.
Pizza Hut, where your second pizza is always half price. It's catching on.
The first World Trade Tower, regular price. We'll throw in a second World Trade Tower.
Crisp, clean. Old Spice. It puts the wind in your sails.
Well, the story tonight from Texas, the matchup, Clemens and Ryan. You see the score there, 3-0 Red Sox. Clemens, 8 innings, no runs, 3 hits, and he is gone. Nolan Ryan, 8 into third innings, 2 runs and 6 hits allowed, 6 strikeouts. Clemens, 9 strikeouts. And Canseco in his Arlington Stadium debut in a Rangers uniform, 0 for 2 with a walk against Roger Clemens. Juan Gonzalez was injured, the Major League's leading home run hitter, on this pitch back in the 4th inning from Clemens.
Leading off for the Rangers, first baseman.
Ouch! Right on the left forearm, and it was diagnosed as a bruise, and nothing worse than that. Now we go to the last of the 9th inning. Palmeiro will lead it off, but not against Roger Clemens. Clemens is taken from the game, and Tony Fossis, who specializes in facing one batter, always a lefty, and then going into the clubhouse and taking a shower. Maybe not even needing a shower. Here is Palmeiro taking a slider for ball 1.
Well, the one thing to remember is both of these teams have lost their closers. You know, Reardon, of course, has gone to Atlanta, and Jeff Russell is now in Oakland.
Palmeiro deep down the right field line, into the corner. This one is hooking, and it is foul. Not deep enough to have been a home run, but it could have been a lot of trouble if it had just stayed fair. It would not.
I think Palmeiro just wants to put the ball in play once tonight, John.
Struck out 3 straight times, once looking, against Roger Clemens. By the way, Roger Clemens looks poised to have another great final month of the season in his career. From September the 1st on, his record is 22-8. And that is ball 2 to Palmeiro. Clemens already went 5-1 in August. And is already 1-0 in September. He won the other night in Seattle. 2-1 to Palmeiro. Is that a swing? Yes. 2-2 the count.
If you're a left-handed hitter, there's nothing worse than a left-handed pitcher that throws sidearm with the big sweeping curveball and the fastball that tails back inside.
3-2. Now Canseco's on deck. The Boston bullpen is very busy. Fossis may not be on much longer than just Rafael Palmeiro. They've got a right-hander, Quantrill, and a left-hander, Hesketh, both warming up along the left field line. 3-2 to Palmeiro. Canseco on deck. And it's a walk. The Rangers have not had a hit since the 4th inning. Here comes Burleson, assuming to make the change for Quantrill, with Canseco coming up. And he's already made the call. Clemens did not allow a hit in his last 4 innings of pitching. Did not even allow a ball to be put in play there for about 3 innings or so. Quantrill coming in to face Canseco. It's not over yet.
The bright, invigorating scent of Coast.
Discover how it wakes you up and jumpstarts your day.
Up and at 'em.
Coast, the eye-opener.
Know what's wrong with the world today?
No one cares about doing a good job
No one cares
anymore.
about doing a good job anymore.
Napkin?
Thanks. Quick fix, slap it together.
Refill?
Thanks. Courtesy, efficiency, punctuality. Is that too much to ask? Nah.
Hot food and fast, friendly service guaranteed. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Finish, Mr. Martin?
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Show me a place like that, and I'd give them all my business. Why, I'd never leave.
Some days you just can't lose. Wanna live, wanna spread the news. Some days you feel so good. Gotta smile, gotta knock on wood.
A great day calls for a great beer. The Michelob beers, with its smooth, classic taste you don't find every day.
Michelob, some days. Michelob, some days. Michelob, some days are better than others.
Another great double play. This one started by Roberto Alomar. Watch Brent Main. He actually passes in front of Alomar, and he still backhands the toss to Griffin to get him, then back over to complete the double play. It's 4-4. They head to extra innings. John and Joe.
All right, John, and here we've got the Red Sox leading Texas 3-0. There's a runner at first, Palmeiro, nobody out. And Jose Canseco, the hitter. 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Paul Quantrill out of Ontario. We saw him last night in Oakland. He took the loss on the ridiculous play that ended that ball game as the former Ranger, Ruben Sierra, scored the winning run. 0-1 to Canseco. Off the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. What you saw of him last night, Joe, and your impressions of Quantrill?
Well, he has a good live fastball. As we can see, the ball is really moving, and he throws a slider.
And heading for second now is Palmeiro. The ball off the glove of Pena. We'll see how they score it.
This looks more like a straight fastball than the sinking fastball. See, I think Pena was thinking the ball was going to sink a little bit. It did not sink.
That'll be scored as a pass ball against Pena. Now just a base hit to mean a run for Texas. Monty Ferris is on deck. Nobody out. We're in the 9th. Quantrill for the Red Sox is making his 18th appearance. He's born in Canada, but went to college at the University of Wisconsin. Lives in Canada now in Good Hope, Ontario in the offseason. Quantrill in 30 2/3 innings has allowed 29 hits, but only 1 home run. So he usually keeps the ball in the park, which is just what Canseco tries to keep from happening. Texas trailing 3-0. The Rangers were shut out yesterday at Yankee Stadium. Scott Kamenecki doing the job, and now Clemens shutting them out for 8 tonight, but now the bullpen trying to keep it going. Nice pitch. 2-2 to Canseco on the outside corner. Canseco is a Ranger now 3 for 13. With 2 doubles and 2 runs batted in. He drove in one Saturday with a double, drove in a run in his first game Friday. Just a little bit outside.
Yes. And very close pitch, but it's a ball.
Missed by at least a half inch. 3-2 the count. There's Palmeiro, the runner at second, trying to get the Rangers a run here. Down 3-0, last of the 9th. Roger Clemens threw 119 pitches tonight. In an earlier game here in Texas, he threw 149 pitches. And then went 7 straight starts without a win after that. Again, a full count to Canseco. Boggs can't handle it. It goes through. Palmeiro is holding, and he'll get to third. And despite what Billy Hatcher has been doing to that ball out there. Palmeiro will stop at third.
That should be scored as a base hit. The ball was hit hard, and it was in between hop. Tough play for Boggs to come up with.
Second baseman, Monty Ferris.
It's a smash, and it's in the hole. And watch the hop, that big hop right in between. Boggs just slows it down, but it was a very difficult play. Palmeiro, was only going to third because his run doesn't mean anything.
It will be scored as a hit for Canseco, and here's Monty Ferris instead of Juan Gonzalez, who again will leave the game after being hit by a pitch in the fourth inning with a bruised left forearm. Nobody out. Fastball on the corner, strike one. Ferris struck out looking in his only at bat. He's back in the sixth inning. He's out of Oklahoma State. Robin Ventura went there, as did Pete Incaviglia, former Ranger. Well, right there again, strike two. Kevin Reimer on deck.
Two very good pitches from Quantrill. What he does is he throws the ball down and away. If Ferris swings at it, he's going to hit a ground ball someplace. And that's what Quantrill wants right now, to try to get out of this by getting a double play if he can. Yeah.
Out number one. He made short work of Ferris with the runner at third there.
Yes.
And runners at first and third.
I mean, if he'd have made those pitches on Canseco, he would have gotten him out too. Those are perfect pitches, low and away. Not a lot you can do with it. Ferris had taken two. This is a pretty defensive swing, but some good pitches. You have to give the pitcher credit sometime.
Now you've got the left-handed batting Reimer coming up, and the left-handed Joe Hesketh ready in the bullpen, and Rick Burleson, the acting manager, is going to bring him in. 2 on, 1 out. We'll be back.
It's the same thing every Saturday. He puts on those old blue jeans and goes out with that old dog, and he's gone all day. He says he's going to bring back dinner, but all he ever brings back is that old dog.
Here's to old dogs, Saturday mornings, and comfortable blue jeans. Wrangler.
When David and Lisa Edmondson needed life insurance, they came to see me. I'm Kent Spearman, their State Farm agent. I help the Edmondsons put together a life insurance plan that works for them and their budget. And I stay in touch as their needs grow and change, because that plan has to work for their children, Rachel and Travis, too. If you want life insurance that works for you, get an agent who works for you. Get yourself a State Farm agent.
State Farm sells life insurance. If you're looking into faucets, Peerless means plenty. America's leading do-it-yourself faucet. In hundreds of styles and finishes. All made with solid brass valve construction. And all warranty for as long as you own your home. The best made, best back, do-it-yourself faucets in America. That's what Peerless means.
We're in Arlington, Texas. John Miller with Joe Morgan. Last half of the ninth inning, the Boston Red Sox trying to hold on for a win here for Roger Clemens, as they try to help him get a Cy Young award or at least a 20-game season again. Here's Joe Hesketh, who was a starting pitcher much of the year, now working from the bullpen. And look at those hits allowed.
And only 129 innings, 151 hits. And he's not a strikeout pitcher per se. That gives a lot of opportunities for the opposition to score.
Runners at first and third. Kevin Reimer, strike one. Reimer has flied out. He has singled and has struck out. He was one of those 7 straight strikeouts by Roger Clemens. 8 shutout innings for Clemens, but they went to the bullpen to start the ninth. Fossis walked the man he faced. Quantrill gave up a single and then had a strikeout, and now Hesketh. 1 out, 2 on in the dirt. Over at third base is Palmeiro. At first base, Canseco. There is Rafael Palmeiro and Jose Canseco, with Cooper playing behind him over at first base. Canseco tonight 1 for 3 with a walk. 3-0 Boston, last of the ninth. The infield double play depth here for the Red Sox. The outfield deep. but toward left. That's down the right field line, but a hooking foul.
I don't think you better throw that pitch again. Went out of the ballpark, but foul.
I think he broke his bat in that, too.
Well, there's a fastball inside, and Reimer just turned on it and pulled it. Watch the ball. You see it start to really hook right about there. And it's actually not that close. Maybe 15 feet foul. 10 feet.
Reimer has only 2 of his home runs against left-handers this year. His overall average is .277, but he's hitting .259 against the lefties. He got 16 home runs all told.
Well, I guarantee you Tony Pena will not let Hesketh throw a fastball inside again.
2 on, 1 out. 1-2 the count.
Slider away.
Could be 2. Reed to second. 1. Valentin to first. Double play, and Boston has won it. The Red Sox hold on to help Clemens get his 18th and the 3rd duel in their respective careers between Clemens and Ryan has ended, and Clemens is 1 up on him now. And Joe, what do you think?
Well, I thought we got what we came for. We saw a good, well-pitched ball game by both Clemens and Nolan Ryan. Ryan just probably ran out of gas a little bit. And we also saw the excitement that Jose Canseco brings to a ballpark. We saw all the kids following him before the game. And we also saw the excitement in the owner, George Bush, who was very excited that Jose Canseco is here.
So the Red Sox beat the Rangers, and that brings to an end our holiday tripleheader on ESPN. Tomorrow night, doubleheader action, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, the Chicago Cubs and the Pittsburgh Pirates, followed by, at roughly 10:30 Eastern, the San Diego Padres and the San Francisco Giants. Now this is John Miller for Joe Morgan from Arlington Stadium, inviting you to join us next Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, from Busch Stadium, St. Louis. We've got the Cubs and Cards for you. Final score here, Red Sox 3, the Rangers nothing. Now, so long, everyone.
This unofficial moment in our national pastime is brought to you by the official airline of Major League Baseball, United. Come fly the friendly skies.
Coming up on Baseball Tonight, the resignation of Fay Vincent, reaction and the ramifications, all in the midst of the races. Vincent will not be around for Robin Yount's 3,000th hit, but he didn't miss it by much. A day before the 7th anniversary of Rose catching Cobb. This single in the 4th inning against Dennis Cook of the Indians was his 3rd in 2 days. Part of a 2-0 win by the Brewers. We'll have more on that game later, as Yount now needs just 2 hits to become the 17th player of the more than 7,700 hitters in baseball history to get 3,000. His 1,000 and 2,000 both came against Cleveland. Reason enough to mention Sandy Wittall and Don Schulze. Not often you hear those 2 names. Hello and welcome to the Labor Day edition of Baseball Tonight. I'm Gary Miller, hoping you had a holiday today and enjoyed it. But Fay Vincent used this occasion to record his last order of business, resigning 3 years to the week after he replaced his dear friend, the late Bart Giamatti, as the 8th commissioner in baseball history. Fay Vincent has resigned the office. Thursday in Chicago, Major League owners voted 18-9 to ask Vincent to resign. And with that facing him, he sent a letter to each owner this afternoon saying he would honor their resolution and resign. This just days after he said he would fight all the way to the Supreme Court, any effort to force him out. Included in a 3-page text to the owners, in Vincent's words, I can no longer justify imposing on baseball, nor should baseball be required to endure a bitter legal battle. He went on to say, I've concluded that resignation, not litigation, should be my final act as commissioner in the best interests of baseball, as he once more used that familiar phrase. This was Fay at his summer retreat in Cape Cod this evening, as he has refused so far to speak about his resignation to the media. Here's how others in the game reacted to Vincent's decision, starting with Lee McPhail, reportedly one of the leading choices by the owners as a possible replacement.
To be very honest, I would prefer not to. If for some reason I was the only person that they felt was the proper person to do it, then I would have to think about it, because I owe baseball my whole working life.
It's unfortunate for baseball. It really is one of those things, and I'm just sorry that it came to this.
I think that baseball will do better over the next few months if Commissioner Fay Vincent's not there, so I'm happy he did resign. I'm relieved. It's my birthday, so I'm very relieved.
I, of course, personally was very disappointed because I trust him. I know he's a good, decent man and good for baseball. He made his decision based upon what's best for the game, and he didn't think mud wrestling with owners would be good for baseball. It would put us in gridlock and we wouldn't be able to move forward. So he made a very difficult personal decision, one that I regrettably stand by.
Although Vincent's term as commissioner may have been the stormiest and included some of the most significant decisions in baseball history, a look inside the numbers shows that only Giamatti's term, cut short by a heart attack, was briefer. Vincent ended in 1,100 days, a tenure that was supposed to run through the last day of March 1994. ESPN baseball analyst Peter Gammons has more perspective on what the vacancy in the commissioner's office means, starting with who would want a job like this in the future.
Well, first, it's the visibility. It's a very popular job. I mean, I think it's been misperceived as something of almost a religious leader, and it's going to be more clearly defined as CEO. But, you know, the last time they went out there in 1984, the game was in just as bad shape, if not worse than it is now. And they ended up with a tremendous list of candidates, including Baker and Giamatti and Uberoff and several other people. I think people line up just because there's still something special about being baseball commissioner that attracts people from other sides of business and makes businessmen pay utility infielders $2 million a year. Well, the first thing I was told tonight was that they would like to find someone within the game. Now, there are a lot of names outside the game, like James Baker and Ron Brown of the Democratic Party, who's a friend of Jerry Reinsdorf. But if possible, they'd like to not have to have a training program, period. They'd like someone, I think, Paul Beeson of the Blue Jays, who's a businessman and a tremendous politician in the sense of being able to bring people together. He is probably the #1 guy on everyone's list. I think you'll see certain other people within the game that have had some consensus go out there. Eddie Einhorn's name will probably come up. John Schuerholz, who has been a tremendous businessman and general manager at Atlanta. Sandy Alderson, I know, has been recommended by a couple of people. I don't think Sandy would ever leave San Francisco or Tiburon for that matter. But I think right now that they're going to look within the game. If they can't find anyone, then they'll go outside come about September.
All right, thanks, Peter. With the office vacant for now, Bob Lee takes a look at the major issues which will affect the future of the game, which will face whoever becomes the 9th commissioner.
The role of commissioner is headed for its first major overhaul since Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis left the federal bench to clean up the Black Sox scandal. The next commissioner will likely have his powers well defined, with an exactitude missing for the last 73 years. The best interests of baseball. That was the broad grant of powers given the commissioner, a liberal interpretation upheld time after time in federal court. Now, with baseball payroll spiraling, an increasing number of teams in red ink, the sport wants to rewrite the economic formula that's brought the game its unparalleled popularity and profits and now economic problems. 2.5 years ago, owners locked out the players, attempting to modify the arbitration system that fueled high salaries. Commissioner Vincent, under his best interest power, entered those 1990 talks, softening management's offer. Several months ago, he rebuffed an attempt to limit his labor role for the next talks. The next commissioner will likely have that role limited by a new job description. Several months ago, Vincent overruled the Cubs' veto, instituting his own National League realignment. That plan is now in court, delayed by at least a year. The next commissioner must grapple with that collision of geography and economics, plus the pending sale and transfer of the San Francisco Giants to Tampa Bay. Baseball is now beginning to renegotiate its television contracts with CBS and ESPN. Contracts reported to have incurred heavy losses for both networks. Vincent had no role in the current deal, but he was taking aim on the effect of Superstation telecast and specifically the Tribune Corporation. That company next year will have 5 stations carrying the games of 7 Major League teams. Vincent aided Bart Giamatti's investigation of Pete Rose, and it was Vincent as commissioner who spearheaded the change in Hall of Fame requirements. He removed any chance that baseball writers could elect Rose while he was on the ineligible list. That policy could be reviewed. But it is the cost of baseball that forced this holiday resignation, the cost of free agency, the cost of arbitration, the cost of stardom, the cost of trying to buy a winner, and the cost of doing business with the most successful trade union in history. All of these issues, ironically on Labor Day, have now cost Fay Vincent his job. I'm Bob Lee, ESPN.
The owners gather again this Wednesday in St. Louis for their quarterly meetings with what to do next, a priority on that agenda. Much more on the resignation of Fay Vincent coming up on SportsCenter in about 20 minutes. Well, Vincent chose a holiday when many parks are packed as the summer draws to a close for most of us. It's also a signpost that the stretch run is upon us. And with only 4 weeks left in the regular season, the closest race remains the American League East, with Toronto arriving in Kansas City with 2 teams within 5.5 of their lead in the East. George Brett at the plate, coming into the night, 23 shy of 3,000. Got a single off Jack Morris. He's 22 shy now. In the 4th, McReynolds and Joyner aboard for Brent Maine. Joyner had 3 hits in the night, and Maine delivers. Opposite field, Gapper made it 3-0 Royals. They'd eventually take a 4-0 lead behind Rick Reed, but the Jays come back, and they tie it in the 8th. They scored twice, then Dave Winfield against reliever Jeff Montgomery. Roberto Alomar scores. They tie it at 4. Winfield had 3 hits in the night, scored a run and knocked that run in. But they have now gone to the 11th, still tied at 4, as Toronto tries to pad its lead in the East. We'll keep you posted on this game as Morris denied a chance at his 19th win. The Jays have won 6 of 7 coming in. At Camden Yards, where the Orioles keep the pressure on. Hosting the Yanks, New York up 1-0 in the 6th when Chris Hoyles unloads his 18th of the year into the bleachers, ties it at 1-1. Then in the 7th, Mike Stanley hits home run number 31 off Ben McLongball. Number 6 of the year for Stanley, but Leo Gomez, who had given up a run on an error, also made a brilliant defensive play, hits his 17th of the year, tied it at 2. That was in the 8th, stayed that way to the 13th. That is called a ball. With the bases loaded, Alan Mills' pitch misses. Andy Stankiewicz brings home Danny Tartabull with the bases loaded walk. A crucial call there because Bernie Williams then added a 3-run triple to break it open. And the Orioles, who had won 7 straight before losing Sunday, have now lost back-to-back, dropping this one to the Yanks and reliever Rick Monteleone. Back to County Stadium, we showed you Yount's hit to get him within a couple of 3,000. It was a day for history. Kenny Lofton stole a couple of bases. He sets the American League rookie record. He has 52 on the season now. Bottom of the 4th, they was still scoreless, though, with 1 out. Greg Vaughn has been on a hitting tear lately. Hits his 19th home run into the bleachers. A packed house in Milwaukee, over 40,000 there on Labor Day. 1-0 for Cal Eldred, who did the rest. He's been spectacular this season, striking out Glenn Allen Hill there. He won his 6th straight decision, avenging the only loss of his career. That came back in July at Cleveland. He's been on a roll since. He is 7-1. Although Dave Fleming is one of the favorites for Rookie of the Year, several other pitchers have made superb rookie debuts, led by Eldred, who lowers his overall ERA to 1.30. All but 4 of his 62 1/3 innings this year have been scoreless. We'll have more on Tim Wakefield a little bit later. He pitched against the Cubs this afternoon. We've got lots more highlights to get to. Both the Pirates and Expos games were decided in the last at-bat, extra innings in Pittsburgh. And as Fay Vincent resigns, we reflect on some of the events that shaped his tenure. In October of 1989, just a month into office, Vincent had to decide whether to continue the World Series in wake of the earthquake.
There will be no World Series game before Tuesday. It is our present expectation that we will be able to play Game 3, Game 4, and Game 5 in Candlestick starting next Tuesday.
For the last time, name the secret ingredient that gives Diet Pepsi an unfair advantage.
Uh-huh.
Well, what is it?
It's like this, baby. You know it's uh-huh, 'cause the taste says uh-huh, baby. Uh-huh. 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 You got the right one, baby.
With 100% uh-huh. The HBO Big Fall season featuring the Addams Family and other Hollywood hits. Dana Carvey hosts a young comedian special. The big heavyweight fight, Ruddock versus Lewis. And the king of pop, Michael Jackson's first ever televised concert.
The fabulous HBO fall season.
Thank you!
All this and much, much more. So big, it speaks for itself.
At Ford Motor Company, we don't just build quality cars and
Ford
trucks.
Customer Assistance Center, how may I help
We
you?
build relationships. Our Customer Assistance Department assists over 4,000 people a day on everything from warranties to how to program a keyless entry system. It's part of a whole philosophy at Ford that's rapidly changing the ownership experience.
Well, it's important to us that you're happy with your car. Thanks for calling Ford.
Ford Motor Company. Quality is job one. It's working. It's working.
Shirts. Beware the man who says, I'll give you the shirt off my back. Chances are it's not a Dockers shirt, and therefore of no great loss to him, nor of any particular gain to you. Nobody does shirts like Dockers.
Baseball Tonight is brought to you by Diet Pepsi with 100% You've got the right one, baby, And by Wrangler, the most comfortable jeans known to man.
Welcome back to Baseball Tonight. Back in July, the Cubs swept 3 from Pittsburgh and got within 3.5 of the lead. But right after that, the Pirates caught fire, pulled away, and after getting swept at Wrigley, Chicago was staring at a double-figure deficit as they arrived in Three Rivers. But they've had pretty good success against the Pirates this season. Andre Dawson, who's been on a tear since going down to Miami to check out the hurricane damage, almost got it out of the yard, but the man they called Cheddarhead in the Pirate clubhouse, Gary Varsho, makes the catch against his former teammate. The story was Alex Arias, yet another Cubs shortstop, who made his Major League debut yesterday, and today went 5 for 5, including that hit off Tim Wakefield, who just didn't have it today. Cubs were up 3-0 at that point, but the Pirates came back, tied it at 3. Then in the 11th, Derek May at the plate, and Bob Patterson, who just 2 nights ago gave up a pinch hit grand slam to Todd Benzinger on his first pitch, threw his first pitch, and it went over the wall from Derek May. Pirates did get 2 in the bottom of the 11th, but the Cubs, on the strength of May's home run, win it 6-5. It's the first time the Cubs have had 21 hits in 5 years, as they have now beaten the Pirates 5 straight times. Sean Bosky starts for the again injured Mike Harkey on Tuesday. He's 0-5 in his career against Pittsburgh. The Expos make up ground. They were hosting St. Louis. Bottom of the 8th, game tied at 6. Marquise Grissom facing Todd Worrell on in relief. Grissom just crushes it. His 13th home run of the year, giving the Expos a 7-6 lead, and the repercussions were felt all the way in Pittsburgh with Chris Berman.
Sacre bleu, un circuit. Marquise Grissom. Arrête, 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 arrête. That's back in French.
Back, gone, but coming back off John Wetland with the Cardinals. Gerald Perry at the plate, chopping it up the middle, gets it off spike going. Ozzie Smith comes in to tie the game at 7 and send it to extra innings. And Wetland then gave up the big blow of the game. Bernard Gilkey just wheeled on it, his 5th of the year. The Cardinals pulled out 8-7 in 10 innings. Lee Smith picks up his 38th save. Brewer knocked in 3 on the day. Ozzie Smith had 4